No need to still faff about, I suppose. It's a big day, a lot to do. Now we wait to hear my own voice.
Want to see a magic trick?
No.
Taco John's has turned.
Shut up, Taco John's. Shut up, Taco John's. No one cares. You don't have ad blocker? Why don't you have ad blocker? It messes with stream stuff sometimes. And I haven't had time to really sit and figure out which will crash my stream and which won't. You don't have ad block. Okay, we sound fine. We sound good. Today, as with every week, we have a new player tournament. What's up, Wesley Bravo? I agree. As with every week, we have a new player tournament. This time it is in the EU time zone. Next week it will be in the NA time zone. So if you are thinking of playing but you are at work right now and you're like, man, I wish it was after work for me. Well, come back next week or 2 weeks after that or 2 weeks after that. And if you're European, you want to play, but you missed this one, come back 2 weeks from now or 2 weeks after that or 2 weeks after that or 2 weeks after and 2 weeks after. And you get what's going on. All right. 2 things to announce. Now, you might think you know what I'm going to announce, but for once you don't. I won't keep repeating the same thing over and over again. I mix it up. Currently, we do have a poll on the channel. It's in the Communities tab if you ever go there. I don't really know if YouTube recommends that to people. We have 427 votes, but feel free to get your vote in there on what type of tournament we'll be hosting next week. There is a draft, 2v2 domination, single faction tournament, and a unit bans tournament. Those things are there. I won't go too much into detail because we're just starting this video off, but feel free to go vote. The one I know people want clarification on, but I ran into my character limit on that, so I couldn't describe it more as the draft. Essentially, I take the factions not based on their strength, but based on their popularity on stream. So even though like High Elves and Dark Elves aren't the strongest faction right now, they're still very, very common. So I sit players down, and before they enter the tournament, I'm like, you have $100. Here's a list of factions with a price point next to them. Pick 3 factions you're going to be playing all tournament long, and you can't spend over $100. So like Bretonia, Grand Cathay, probably not Tzeentch anymore, but like, anyway, just factions we see all the fucking time and everybody's sick of. Those are going to be like $70, $60, somewhere in that range. So they take up over half your budget if you want to take them at all. And then that forces you with only $40 or $30 left in your budget for your other 2 factions. You're going to have to go down to like the budget bin that we never see, right? Like Khorne, Wood Elves, Chaos Dwarves, things like that. So the less popular a faction is, the cheaper they are, and people have to balance that out. That'll really force people to try off different meta stuff. The other 3 are more self-explanatory, so I won't go into them. But I know certain people have been asking about clarifications for what draft even meant. And it's just too long of a concept to explain in 67 characters. But enough rambling. We have a tournament today. We do have 6 new players checked in for today's tournament. I can't flip over to the Swiss bracket because 2 of the rounds out of 4 are already completed, and we'll be casting those replays now, so I don't want to spoil them for you. But do have Dragonborn, a frequent of the new player tournaments. He's always been on the cusp of winning them. So I think he has a good shot today. Shogunik, a player who has won a new player tournament before, but he was a new player who like kept... Retiring is such a strong word, but like taking a break from the game, coming back, taking a break from the game, coming back. And I recently had a program where I opened it up to anybody who's won a new player tournament and couldn't play in them anymore. I'm like, hey, if you really want to play in a new player tournament, but you won at one point in time and you don't think you're, too good to be in a new player tournament, but you don't think you're good enough to be in like the Vermin League stuff, like whatever, hit me up. He hit me up, showed me some replays, and I was like, yeah, new players could beat you. Not that they will, but it's not like he's going to turbo smurf on everybody. So I think Shogun and Koala are probably my favorites for today's tournament to win. Aside from them, we have Shocky, Dust Bunny Armada, Hollow Theorist, and Anthrax. I've never gotten to see Hollow Theorist or Anthrax. I have seen Dust Bunny and Shocky a bit. Shocky is a fun up-and-comer who likes Queeks, so they get my vote. So let's get right into it. Best of 1 Swiss stage for 4 rounds. And then a final to determine the ultimate winner. CP ain't no new player. He also didn't check in, and if he did check in, I would have booted him. Watch out, there's a ghost behind me. Oh, you're talking about the sheet, yeah. That blocks the very, very bright window from behind me and helps with the camera focusing. See how the whole room got darker when I revealed it? And how the whole room gets lighter? So, yeah, it helps with the camera. You might be like, why don't you just pull down the shade? One, see all those beautiful plants in front of that window? They like the light. Also, the shade doesn't really help. It's not like a blackout curtain or anything, so light still gets through it and the camera still tries to correct, but it overcorrects and then puts the whole room in darkness. So it is what it is. But no more stalling, let's get into it. No need for a blocker because it's a Swiss tournament. Knowing that someone plays in the future does not mean they got eliminated right now. Everybody plays 4 rounds before any knockout occurs. So first game of the day will be Koala Duck versus the glorious Dust Bunny. Vampire Coast versus the Ogre Kingdoms. Cool. Cool, cool. I did instruct players to send me their replays. So there will be some replays from the loser's perspective today. Don't just instantly assume you've got the biggest brain in the whole world. Ah! Koala sent it in, so he wins. I can guarantee you that's not the case for some of them. Because I asked who won and then saved the loser's one because I'm a jerk. Also, so y'all can't outsmart yourselves. Where's the cat and the dog and a close-up of the plants? If we catch back up to live and we have any waiting periods, remind me and I'll show you the plants. Dog is sleeping right there. Cat is high off his ass on catnip over there. For the Vampire Coast of Koala Duck, we do have as many halberds as he could muster. 4 zombies, 3 depth guard with polearms. We have the Shade Wraith Gunners, Deck Gunners, Regiment of Renown. The Deck Gunner Regiment of Renown does a lot of damage, so it's actually good, unlike their regular counterparts, but also the Discouraged Aura is really nasty versus low leadership factions like the Ogres. We have triple Spooky Crab, one of which is the Lamper's Revenge ROR. And then we have a Polearms Captain with Vampires for his Drowned Dead Invocation of Hex, plus the Van Horst Speculum to lower the enemy stats, and Wand of Jet to get himself a little bit more Winds of Magic regen. Cool, cool. On the other side, the Ogres. We have a Firebelly with Burning Head, and then alongside him we have a Tyrant. Did he bring snacks? He did. He brought his own snacks, so he has regeneration in melee. Our Spelcher lowers the leadership of the undead, maybe getting them to crumble quicker. We do have one Lead Belcher that will be very good in this matchup. It's probably going to want to move up faster, though. I don't know why it's backing off. It should be shooting at this area right now. Some Noblar Trappers will act as archers, so they'll be largely suited to their task. Then a bunch of Ogre Bulls, some Saber Tusks, and we do have a Hunter on a Stonehorn off in the distance. And the first Burning Head is out. It's curving dangerously back towards the Ogre lines, but for now it did take 3/4 HP off of a Chaff Halberd that the Ogres are surely going to want to get rid of. Invocation Heck trying to bail that guy out. He's still crumbling a little bit. The Invocation will be welcome. Tyrant is in. Tyrant's going to have to be a little careful. A little careful. And something must be done about those Shade Wraith Gunners. It looks like the Noblar Trappers are getting in range to throw at them, which will take them out pretty quickly. And after the Shade Wraith Gunners are dead, there's no excuse for Lead Belchers not to move up. Because they're just, I mean, everything here is melee or shotgun range, so Lead Belchers can do their business for free. Stonehorn tries to break through some of the depth guard, but runs into crabs, and now it is getting stabbed from all sides. It is going to want to back out. You can see how much damage those depth guard can do when they surround it. He's already lost, my god, he's lost 5,000 HP, and it's still tanking. Sabertusk Pack's trying to charge in, but their Rampage took them into the depth guard, and they got messed up. Now this Hunter is starting to fall back, but he might just break anyway. For the Ogres, they have to slow this down. The Vampire Coast has no agency left in this game. Their Shade Wraith Gunners are doomed. That's a really good Burning Head. I like that a lot. Unfortunately, it curves up through some Noblars before going back on its trajectory. But anyway, you're quickly getting the ranged advantage, so the Noblars are going to have to kite a little bit. These Lead Belchers have to come up to the front line and start firing in. That is really the Ogre's win condition. The enemy went full in on Halberd box with crabs and stuff, so just taking a melee fight with them is entirely in the Vampire Coast's benefit. Hunter is on the outside trying to throw his anti-large armor-piercing javelins into the Lamper's Revenge. He's getting good damage out, to be fair. But like I've said a million times, the Ogres do need to back off. Honestly, a few Lead Belchers should hurt this box really badly. Yeah, there is one Lead Belcher. It's just not in position to move. Found one unit that will outright die to Overcast Maw. If you spend all that Wind of Magic, you can charge up a unit of Skaven Slaves. Yeah! That's pretty hype. The Ogre's one amazing, unlosable matchup gets even better for them. Anyway, the Tyrant overcommitted. He is now routing. Took a lot of damage. Firebelly's also in there. Trying to scrap with the best of them. The Lead Belchers still have not fired a single shot. At this point, I'm convinced they've been forgotten. There goes another Burning Head. It curves away from the Deckhand Mob and the Halberds, but curves directly into Depth Guard. Man, Burning Heads really have a mind of their own, and they think they're doing good, though most of the time you wish they just went straight. Brutal. Anyway, the Ogre's trying to kite this out. The Lead Belchers might accidentally get to start shooting once stuff comes into their range, but they have not been used this entire game. And I think that will be a problem. A Butcher was cast on the Hunter, because there's no other source of healing, so the fact that he's healed up must mean he got a Butcher. Firebelly will fall back. Tyrant's still here, so the Ogres still have some decent leadership, but yeah, they're just too disparate at this point. For the coast, that's a summon, so we don't care about it. We have 1, 2, 3 extremely healthy Depth Guard. 1 very healthy Crab. Lamper's Revenge, I don't know where their heal cap is, but they were quite damaged before, so we'll see how much that ends up mattering. And then a rather damaged Promethean Mob here. They're too far behind now. Yeah, I think if the Lead Belcher uses all of its ammo on Depth Guard, maybe it can kill off 2 or 3 of the units, but I don't think the Ogres have enough left in them afterwards. The Tyrant gets stuck in with all these crabs in Depth Guard, and he is going to die. I don't think he's going to be leaving that blob alive. Down to 300 HP, quickly turns into 200. And when he dies, the Ogre leadership will spike down. The Lead Belchers are now starting to accidentally fire. Creeping. That is looking like a GG. Without the Tyrant, everything routes. Hunter's trying to get some cycle charging in. The Lamper's Revenge are there to meet him. Shockingly, still their heal cap isn't within sight. Just appeared at the very end. That is a GG. Alright, just checking some messages, seeing if they were pertinent to this. For Koala, his crabs did pretty darn well. The Depth Guard pole arms did amazingly. Shadewraith Gunners didn't have a lot to do, and the Zombie Pirate Deckhand Mobs mostly got killed. For the Glorious Dust Bunny Armada, overall, I like the idea of the build. I mean, I'm never a fan of the Firebelly and the Tyrant, personally. I know certain people like it. I just think it's too expensive for what you're getting out of it. But I get the combination here. I think the Stonehorn Hunter was a good tech piece. I think he just overcommitted to a melee fight and then took way too much damage at the start. But I liked what he did in the middle and late game, where he just stood there throwing javelins at the Lamper's Revenge. He got pretty good value off just doing that. Sabertusk packs. I've honestly just stopped taking Sabertusk packs entirely and instead opted for more Ogre Bulls, because Ogre Bulls accomplish the same task, but Sabertusks with their Rampage, I don't know if the Infinite Rampage bug is fixed again yet. I feel like it sometimes still goes, but with their Rampage, they're just so fucking unreliable that they'll often YOLO themselves into bad situations and get killed. So I've stopped taking Sabertusk packs entirely. I think they suck, just because Rampage is so brutal. And then the Lead Belchers, 600 value when they were firing there in the late game for a tactical reserve. I like the build, just some execution errors. Which, new player tournament, shit might happen. Okay. Okay. That's bold. This is from Anthrax. His apparently Steam name is something else that got blurred by CA, but you know, I from Discord he is Anthrax, and that is double Dreadquake Mortar. That is double Dreadquake Mortar. Okay. I'm concerned. I'm suspect. But we'll see how it goes. I have never seen a Dreadquake even come close to paying for itself. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But... Okay, for the Chaos Dwarves, real small army. 2 Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, 2 Infernal Ironsworn, some Chaos Dwarf Warriors, double Dreadquake Mortar, and Zatan the Black up on his mount. So no caster for the Chaos Dwarves, and double fucking Dreadquake Mortar. For the Skaven of Shogunuk, we have Ikit Claw with Flensing Ruin and Howling Warp Gale. He's on his little Doom Wheel. Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves abound. Some Rat Ogres for a bit of mass. 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, the Avalanche Mortars, Natty Boobo Sharpshooters. And that is about it. Is double Dreadquake even allowed? I don't know. I've never run into it before. But these things suck so bad, I don't think it's going to matter. Alright, Dreadquakes are now in range of some Clan Rats. They're going to have to start firing. I don't know if they have Fire at Will off or if they're just not obeying orders or something, because they aren't shooting at all. Hey, shoot. Stuff's in range. They're just not shooting yet. Hey! Shoot, damn you. Brass Orb for a free little bit of poke on the Infernal Ironsworn. Natty Bilbo Sharpshooters are moving up. I wonder if Ikit even bothers chucking out overcasted Howling Warp Gale just to lock Zatan in place and then shoot with the Natty Bubos. Maybe that's why he's moving up so close. There go the Dreadquake shots. Big impact onto those Clan Rats. There, in fact, is the Howling Warp Gale overcast. Both Warp Lightning Cannons are trying to shoot at him. And the Jezzails also? No, Jezzails are firing... What the fuck are you firing at? Pick a lane. There we go. They're firing at Zatan. Nope, now they're running away. Oh, they're running away because 2 Dreadquakes are firing at them. I'll at least give them that. Warp Lightning Cannon's trying to fire through the trees, struggling to get any shots out there as a second horrific meteor crashes into Natty Bubos and does 0 damage because Dreadquake Mortars are fucking terrible. Dreadquake mortars are so bad, man. When people saw them on release, it was a minority, but there was a vocal minority that was like, that's it, Chaos Dwarves are broken, they're so OP, they're so good. And then Dreadquake Mortars actually came out, and it's like, huh, so they're terrible. I don't know. Even when they hit, it's not that impressive, is my main problem with Dreadquake Mortars. If the Avalanche Mortars can get in range, they can start deleting this front line and really punish the Chaos Dwarves for just sitting here and firing with their Dreadquakes. And the Dreadquakes, I think they just don't have Fire at Will on at this point, because they aren't shooting at a ton of things that are within sight. Now they've gotten orders to go shoot at the Warp Lightning Cannons. You think the Dreadquakes are alright? I have never seen one do well, ever. 2 shots, half health the Warp Lightning Cannon, maybe gonna rout the crew. Do rout the crew, because they almost killed the crew. They actually shatter the Warp Lightning Cannon on impact. Jezzail's finally teeing off into those Dreadquake Mortars, already taking one down to half HP. Even over the hill. Yeah, they're doing good damage. Warp Lightning Cannon assaulted by the other one. Skaven are slowly starting to move up. Are Dreadquakes still bugged? They can't stop shooting even if Fire at Will is off? Clearly not. They have spent tons of this game not firing. Jezzail's still poking in. Phoenix King, I don't think you can convince me that Dreadquake Mortars are actually good considering their price point and considering how squishy they are and how bad they are at anything besides shooting stuff that's sitting still or moving very, very slowly. Like, that Dreadquake is dead, and the Natty Boobo Sharpshooters have 2,300 value from it. Dreadquakes, one of them that's still alive is trying to fall back, because Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses are going to fire at Ikit Claw at very close range. If they can get past that tree, they could actually do a good amount of damage to him. Now, thankfully, ranged units are still ranged units, so they refuse to fire under any circumstance, and Ikit's going to be okay. Infernal Ironsworn trying to hold their own against Skaven Slave Spears. Oh, it's a close fight, but Skaven Slave Spears have a bit more support than the Infernal Ironsworn do in the form of those purple mortars. Kill off an entire Skaven Slave, but also take most of an Infernal Ironsworn with it. Blunderbusses still trying to punish Ikit Claw as he runs around the backfield. Overcasting Flensing Ruin will kill that 39 HP Dreadquake Mortar, but also keep Zatan under wraps. The Blunderbuss is still trying to track Ikit Claw, but he is too fast. He is too furious. And they just can't handle his swagger. Chaos Dwarf Warriors sauntered forward. Rat Ogres and Globes probably need to be pulled up to be to deal with him. Blunderbuss is now under attack by the Avalanche Mortars. The Avalanche Mortars do have a lot of things they need to be doing, because this is a lot of expensive Chaos Dwarf infantrymen. There goes the Dreadquake. Direct hit on the Avalanche Mortars, but they'll be okay. They'll be fine. Skaven have stuff to deal with them. All right, Phoenix King, you can make them work, man. You can make them work, and I'll cast the replay. But I have never seen a Dreadquake Mortar do its fair share, and I've seen people try. How long has Zatan been forgotten back there? He was trying to avoid Natty Bubos and the Warp Lightning Cannons, and now that they're offline, he's getting a little more active. Another Dreadquake shot slightly misses the Avalanche Mortars, but Zatan should be able to clean it up pretty easily. It could still roll in. Chaos Dwarf Blunderbuss is trying to shoot at him. Now they're shooting at the Rat Ogres and get really good damage down with that downhill volley. As this Dreadquake is largely being ignored, 7 ammunition left on it. Rat Ogres and Natty Bubos trying to punish Zatan. And the Chaos Dwarf Infantry is getting a little spooky. We do still have a globe, but if 2 Avalanche Mortar shots hit that globe, it will die, and then the Skaven will lose a lot of their Iron Sword killing potential. There goes a globe volley that does more damage to the Skaven than to the Infernal Ironsworn, but man, they're trying. And Ikit has another Howling Warp Gale plus a Flensing Ruin Overcast to try and kill off Zatan. Get rid of him once and for all, lower the Chaos Dwarf leadership. And the Dreadquake's trying to hit our Poison Wind Globe friends. Trying, keyword. Army losses will hit for the Chaos Dwarves, though. Without Zatan, they are doomed. And that was weird. That was a weird game. 1,300 and 1,300 for our Dreadquake Mortars. I think they cost like 3,000 something, though. Nothing else really paid for itself. Is Dreadquake viable against Dwarves? No. No, no, no. Yes, send them. I want all of them. As for how can you ping at council? Got it. Streaming at the moment. Okay. Sorry, someone's asking me about tournament stuff. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, if the Dreadquake Mortars, I mean, if the Dwarves bring cannons, then the Dreadquake Mortars are just doomed. Gyrocopters are also pretty good against them. And even then, you have to get a lot of shots off to make it worthwhile. Is this Rogue Trader? Did Rogue Trader come out? Did it come out, and is it any good? Alright, this is the last one from round 1. This is Shocky versus Hollow Theorist. Another Chaos Dwarf build, and another Chaos Dwarf build without a caster. I'm gonna start getting mad. I'm gonna get furious. I may come cast it. If it's a good one, I'll cast it. I doubt your Dreadquake Mortar ROR will do very much. Alright. Shocky is trying to make me try the Allure-S. And I am tempted. Because last new player tournament, they made it look super cool. For Slaanesh, we have the Eternal Entourage, Regiment of Renown, the Allure-S of Slaanesh with Pavane and Lash. Then we have Hell Scourges, Demonettes, across the front line. 2 Seeker Chariots, 1 Chaos Lord of Slaanesh, also on his own chariot, and a Soul Grinder of Slaanesh. Very interesting build. Then aside for the Chaos Dwarves, we do have 2 Hobgoblin Wolf Riders with Spears, a front line of Orc Laborers, Chaos Dwarf Warriors, including the Blazing Beards, 1 Infernal Guard, the Kadai Fireborn, 2 Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, and an Iron Demon, with Zatan leading them into battle. Alright. Iron Demon fired a strangely fast ball of lightning out, but I'm going to ignore that as the Kadai Fireborn are making mincemeat out of these devoted marauders and will quickly rout them off. Meanwhile, the Demonettes of Slaanesh should be having a good time versus the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Might be a little more complicated, but I mean, they have good armor piercing values and stuff. On the flanks, one Hobgoblin Wolf Rider is already out of commission, and here come the Secret Chariots to try and go burr through some Orc Laborers, which is a really good target for them. They'll do nice impact damage and keep rolling. I'm curious how they do versus their Chaos Dwarf counterparts, though. Looks like skirmish mode is on as the blunderbusses are trying to run away from the Eternal Entourage. They will never outrun the Eternal Entourage. The Eternal Entourage are much too fast and much too spooky for that sort of nonsense. Kadai Fireborn chasing off Devoted Marauders into the sunset. They do need to come back and help out their compatriots, but a rear charge onto these Demonettes could get them demonic instability crumbling and could finish off the Seco Chariots. That could be a good play for the Chaos Dwarves. Iron Demon in the backfield trying to shoot at Devoted Marauders. Could do good damage there. And these blunderbusses, I think skirmish mode is at last off, but they are rampaging now, so they're stuck fighting the Eternal Entourage in melee instead of shooting them. Soul Grinder is currently kicking the shit out of Zatan the Black. And the Secret Chariots are bogged down in heavy dwarven bodies and surrounded by Wolf Riders. Now, the Kadai Fireborn do have to return to this fight if they're going to be helpful in any way, shape, or form. Both blunderbusses are shut down. Zatan is also shut down. And I'm starting to see a struggle here for the Chaos Dwarves. Please give some tips to the new players while you're streaming. I have been. I keep saying the Kadai Fireborn need to come back and to bring a caster. And to not have skirmish mode on your caster blunderbusses. I'm doing my job! I'm doing my job. Secret Chariots are shut down. They just got stuck in for too long. Chariots in general are alright right now in the meta, but you do have to keep them moving. If they stay put for even a little bit, they will die. Blazing Beards plus the Infernal Guard fighting back. The Eternal Entourage getting very low. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders probably need to pull out of here and charge back in elsewhere, getting a rear charge somewhere. Chaos Dwarf units rallying on the flanks. They will be back, while the blunderbusses are lasting a lot longer than I would have supposed. These blunderbusses need to be rallied and brought back to the fold, and the Kadai Fireborn are on their way back now! Can they get here in time to save the Chaos Dwarves? Let's see. Soul Grinder of Slaanesh is taking a bit of damage. The Demonettes are mostly the problem as far as damage goes. They're very low. Though this one is currently putting on a clinic on how to kill an Iron Demon. He's having a tough go of things. I've noticed a lot more of the Iron Demon models in some replays I was casting. They just don't do well in melee. If you tell them to attack something that's behind them, they don't seem to know how to turn around, so they'll just sit there and not attack. Kadai Fireborn swimming their way back into the fight, just as one Chaos Dwarf Warrior routes, but it can save the Blazing Beards, it can save the Infernal Guard for now. Oof. But there goes Zatan, and without him, the leadership spikes enough that both of these units flee away, leaving the Kadai Fireborn all alone. Chaos Dwarves across the map are running, and the Iron Demon is getting smoked right now by the Demonettes. Blunderbuss is trying to fire in and do some damage to those Devoted Marauders, but I think it is all Ogre now. Fascination and Soporific Musk really wrecking those Kadai Fireborn as they sit in the middle of Demonettes and a Soul Grinder. Army losses is going to hit pretty soon, and the last two units are unbreakable. The Kadai Fireborn are unbreakable until they hit a certain health threshold, so they'll disappear before your eyes about now. Ah, rip. There it is. GG. GG. Shocky did a good job getting on the back line and shutting it down. The mixed front line did very well. The one Exalted Demonette that existed got 2,500 value, which is kind of nuts. Though they did let their chariot die. For Hollow Theorist, Zatan plus no caster makes me sad. Zatan on his own is a bad lord. There's a couple people that like him, and I'll fight them to the death. He's a bad lord. But especially not having a caster is just brutal. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders actually did pretty well. He mostly played well with them, so I liked that. Kadai Fireborn were a good unit. He just forgot to bring them back for a little bit, but when they came back, they did good work. And the Iron Demon, anything besides the ROR Iron Demon underwhelms me, but it did okay on the back line. I don't love it. That should be it for round one. So we've seen everybody play once. And who dares message me? Gotcha. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. On to round 2. The same people you saw before with different combinations. Anthrax versus Dust Bunny. This was the Ogres versus Vampire Coast. This was the Ogres player. That's Dust Bunny. Now on Kislev. And the Ogre player currently, round 1, was playing the Double Dreadquake Mortar. Humbo, do you like Skaven? I do. I like Skaven a lot. They're not very good right now, but I do like them a lot. Okay. For the Ogres of Anthrax, we have Saber-Tusk packs paired with Crushers on the flanks. Both Crushers have great weapons, one of which is the Sky Strider Regiment now. Haven't seen them for quite a while. They've gotten several nerfs over patches, and then Ogre Healing got nerfed this last patch, so it is hard to take them these days. We have 3 Noblars in the front line, 2 Iron Guts, and 2 Maneater Pistols, with a Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with his healing and the Maw, if he happens upon a blob. On the other side, for Kislev, we have a very, I'd say, traditional Kislev build. No things in the woods that I can see, but we have some armored Kossars in the front line, Kossars with spears, and Auction Ambushers populating the back line, including the Wolfhearts with their net. We have the Oath Brothers of Tor and Boris Ursus for some big anti-large damage, a Patriarch with his healing, and a Tempest Caster with only Hailstorm, interestingly enough. First, Pack Trap is out on these Crushers with great weapons, and 2 different archers are going to try and fight them, but some Saber-Tusk packs. Nice job here from the green player. I believe that's Anthrax to charge into these Kossars with spears. Now, they are Kossars with spears, so they'll do okay damage versus your guys, but he's really just trying to save the Crushers for the duration of that Pack Trap. Unfortunately, Maneater Pistols can struggle in this matchup versus Kislev, since Kislev has a ton of hybrid infantry. It's very hard for you to outshoot them. And on the far side, the Sky Striders are getting massacred by the Oath Brothers of Tor, the Patriarch, and some spear support. Oof. The Crusher meta, in my opinion, is long since dead. I think they're just pretty bad now, considering their price. And Kislev especially are quite good at taking out Crushers. They have their own Bear Riders, which are good. They have a ton of healing, and they have a lot of spears and shooting. So, unfortunately, I just think this is not a good matchup for Crushers in general, and taking 2 of them is going to be really rough for the Ogres to dig their way out of. The Wolfhearts took a nasty bit of damage on the charge, so that is good from the Crushers. An Overcasted Troll Guts is trying to heal up the Sky Striders, and they are getting away. I wonder if the Warbear Riders even bother chasing them down, or if they focus their attentions elsewhere. The Ogres are starting to break through the front line in several different points. Their Iron Guts and Noblars teaming up to get rid of a lot of chaff, but it is brutal how much damage they've already taken on some of their important stuff. Sky Strider's still healing up a bit, down to 6 out of 12 models. These other Crushers are at 10 out of 12, but they're stuck fighting Boris Ursus. We'll probably knock those models down to, I'd say, probably 8 with his next couple auto attacks. Pew pew, pew pew. Armor Kossar frontline not enjoying fighting Iron Guts. Maneater Pistols are doing surprisingly well for standing at a range. I wonder what their value is. Oh, okay, not very good. They're just not dead yet. I can appreciate that. They'll probably either want to start shooting at the Oath Brothers of Tor or just commit to melee. This one, I'm fine with it trying to shoot Boris, but your Crushers are going to need to get out of the way. Crushers down to 8 models. They'll do okay versus Boris, too. He's not near his Patriarchs. He's getting no healing. This could actually be a good time to isolate him. I wonder if the Saber-Tusk back should even bother coming over and saying hello. But good snipe attempt on the Kislev Lord here from Anthrax. Meanwhile, the Sky Striders, after they receive some healing, they're back for round 2. And round 2 is going about as well as round 1 went for them, as the Oath Brothers of Tor are still full HP with all the healing they've been getting. They aren't going anywhere. Saber-Tusk Pack's trying to isolate the Wolfhearts, as Iron Guts appear to be between 2 units, as Auction Ambushers and Armored Kossars are dividing their attention. They're just getting shot along the way. Maneater Pistols continuing to fire in. These Crushers have lost their attack orders onto Boris. I imagine he walked away and they just decided to let him go. Thus is the Warhammer 3 life sometimes. Just kind of have to spam click with your units if you want them to really keep on someone. Saber-Tusk Pack gets rear charged by the Oath Brothers of Tor, and Boris is coming over, so they're going to secure the Akshina Ambushers in the back line. Kislev is running out of a front line. That is their biggest concern right now. They have 1 Armored Kossar left who's barely hanging on, then they have a Kossar Spear. Everything after that is valuable. The Akshina Ambushers can't stand up to an Ogre charge at all, and the Oath Brothers of Tor don't really want to be shot by man-eater pistols from a distance. Though the pistols are using most of their ammo, so in the late game, if they just have to charge into melee with the Oath Brothers of Tor, they'll have a very, very bad time. Crushers being taken out. Frostmaiden of Tempest is going to walk the Sky Striders off, while these other Crushers are just massacred by the Oath Brothers of Tor. The man-eater pistols trying to punish those guys, but oh boy, poor man-eaters, your days are numbered. Ogre's still trying to clean up the last of the armored Kossars. Meanwhile, the Iron Guts try and stop the Action Ambushers from doing anything. But it's looking like a bit of a GG. We even have some rallying Kislevites to support the Oath Brothers of Tor like they need it. Are goblins worth bringing? They exist just to die and they only buff for demons, perhaps from quality. Yeah, I've been mostly ignoring goblin laborers and orc laborers. I think they suck. I like to see a couple cheap goblins as Chaos Dwarves. I like the Hobgoblin Archers, the Fire Archers. They're pretty good. Oath Brothers of Tor finally taking some significant damage. Their heal cap is within sight, but the Crushers they were fighting are routed off, and Kislev has a ton of support around. Army losses is imminent as Boris is going to finish off the Slaughtermaster. And I'll say, it was good to see Boris. I missed Boris. Everything's Mamo Stanky these days. Good old-fashioned Boris Ursus. Transitioning to sitting. Screw this standing nonsense. Oi! Slaughtermaster didn't get a lot of value, though he never does. He's a supportive character. Crushers, the Sky Striders did not get their value back, not even close. The regular Crushers did okay, value-wise. Man-eater pistols... One got good value. That's the one that was shooting at Boris and then shooting at the bears. The other one did not. Iron Guts did well. It busted through your front line. Saber Specs did well. Nobblers did well. Yeah, probably cut the man-eater pistols. Get some Nobblar trappers for the archery aspect. They're pretty good at that. And then a couple more Ogre Bulls. I like the Iron Guts. You can keep them. Crushers, I don't believe in them at all, but I know some players do. And they did do good damage versus Boris at one point in time, but I don't know, man. Kislev just has... They have Crushers, but better in the Oath Brothers of Tor and other Warbear Riders, so they're... I think they're even cheaper than Crushers, but you have more healing support for them, you have more buffs and debuffs for them, so it's just like, I don't know. They feel like they just do what Crushers want to do better. On the other side, the Oath Brothers of Tor, 3,300 value. Boris Ursus, 1,600. Auction Ambushers, pretty good value. Army Kossars did alright. Kossars with Spears, they did okay. They're fine for what they're supposed to be doing. So GG there. Load up the next one. This is Shocky on Slaanesh yet again versus Koala Duck on the Beastmen. Not often I get to see his Beastmen. Okay. What do you think about Hellcans since the homing update? I think they're good. I don't think they're OP, but I think they're good. Goblin Laborers might be the worst chaff in the game. I think they are. I think they're just a terrible waste of your money, unfortunately. Alrighty, Slaanesh versus the Beastmen. Shit's getting off real fast here, so let's slow this down. We have two Fiends of Slaanesh, a Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh, with Pavane and Lash. Then we have a Chaos Lord of Slaanesh on his Chariot. Okay, he has Hero Killing Blow and then a Rampage Stick. Two Seekers of Slaanesh, then a front line of Demonettes mixed with Marauders with Hell Scourges. And aside for Koala Duck and the Beastmen, 4 Centaurs with throwing axes, one of which is the Grog Host of Wolves, one Regiment of Renown, 2 Centaurs and a dog, 2 Centaurs and a dog, and then a lot of Minotaurs. No, it's just dogs are exactly on top of them. Okay. It's a Butcher of Kalkengard, another dog, the Incarnate Elemental Beast, and a Deathcaster. This Beastman build has 0 infantry. They are going entirely mobility. Try and kite out Slaanesh. Chaos Warhound's now in the range of that Beguiling Gem, down to 81 speed. The Fiends are trying to catch up to them. Theoretically faster, but the Fiends just aren't really getting it done. I think their wobbly animations doesn't live up to their speed for some reason. Seekers charging Centaurs. Centaurs will win that fight. Seekers' AP means nothing, and their not very good stats do hurt them a lot here. Fiends fighting back against these Centaurs, but yeah. One of the Seekers is already almost dead. The other one, soon to be. In cost, the Beastmen do lose a dog, and they're taking some damage elsewhere. The Slaanesh infantry are trying to catch up. They caught the Grogghooves of Wolf's Run. Dogs are charging into Demonettes as the Centaurs are throwing X's continue to try and kite a little bit here. But the Rampages could be nasty, especially if you're trying to go full mobility. That's already a lot of micro to tax you, but then if something gets rampaged into a bad situation, I mean, you're probably losing a lot of money, because there's not a ton of cheap mobility units, besides dogs, but who cares. Both the dogs are already routing. The Incarnate Elemental Beast is living his best life as he grinds through these Seekers once again. But Fiends are here trying to fight, and a lot of Centaurs are taking damage. The Butchers of Calvin Guard are so far safe, and so far so is the Incarnate. Some Centaurs routing in the distance. Devoted Marauders and Demonettes just trying to find a home, trying to find a fight somewhere, somehow. As the Beastmen Big Bruiser squad is doing its best. But the Fiends are doing alright so far. Their bump and grind potential is not usually very good due to their armor, but they do have 36 melee defense, they have some physical resistance, and they lower your melee stats by 5 and 5. That can help them out a little bit. I wonder what this Sorcerer and these Fiends are going to do. They do have to be rallied back to the fight pretty quickly. Centaurs are throwing axes, kiting away from the infantry of Slaanesh, but other infantry has joined the fight, and across the board, almost no cavalry ever wants to fight infantry in a standing fight. So as long as these infantry are fighting something, they're pretty happy about it. First Spirit Leech I've noticed is out on Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh. Fiends are super close to crumbling, but not quite yet. It looks like the Chariot Lord is going after the Incarnate Elemental Beast. Just going to get a bit of damage there. There's no healing for it on this roster. Any damage you can get is good damage, though I think his Rampage will be useless. Because I don't know if Unbreakable Things can even Rampage. I'm actually not sure. Not sure. Man, this Fiend has lasted a long time, but finally its demonic instability crumbling takes hold and pushes it off. Slaanesh is very far behind on the balance of power, and I guess I'd agree. Yeah, they're just running out of stuff. A lot of things have crumbled. And Seekers, just not good. Also Fiends not good, but Seekers more so. That is a real take. I think Seekers are worse than Fiends. Chaos Lord of Slaanesh is now getting slowly kited to death. Incarnate Elemental Beast still full HP. Butcher's Account Guard above half and regenning, and the Shaman of Death is just fine. On the side of Slaanesh, we have a Lord, a Hero, and some very wounded infantry. Not enough to carry them through. Beastmen take the day. Alright, refresh bracket. Round 4 is completing. So I'm keeping my eyes on that to tell the finalists what to do once they emerge from the bitter grind of 4 rounds of hell. Of hell. Fiends about 600 value apiece. One Seeker got 600, the other got 309. For Koalas, Deathcasters didn't have to do too much, but the Butchers and the Incarnate did fine. Throwing Axes did alright. Basic Centaurs had a field day, just fighting a ton of low armored enemy cav. Rip Slaanesh. Oh no. Oh no. Kugath on Nurgle versus Cathay. Oh god. Why is this happening? Though, this might be a little hype. Hollow Theorist has the War Drum, which is terrible, but it exists. The Jet Lion could be kind of fun. Again, no caster. Hollow Theorist, please. Please bring casters. They're so good. They're so good. Why am I being messaged right now? Hang on. Everybody, hang on. haven't reported their scores yet. I think this is the most new player tournament yet. Yeah. And we're happy to have them, man. We love new players. They get exponentially better. So for Cathay, we have a Jet Lion, this bound missile mirror. We do have Jade Lancers and Peasant Horsemen, a front line of Celestial Dragon Guard and Jade Warriors, Peasant Archers, Iron Hail Gunners, and the Grace of Kuei-Yin Celestial Dragon Crossbow Regiment of Renown pushing up with the Jianggu War Drum and a Celestial General. On the other side for Nurgle, oh, we have 2 Crowmen too. On the other side for Nurgle, Chaos Knights of Nurgle, Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, Marauders, double Soul Grinder, and Kugath Plaguefather with, of course, 1 Chaos Knight and 2 sneaky dogs. Goldenflute saying they don't acknowledge you as a caster? I see. But no, I already was talking about needing a caster just because of magic. Now, the Crowmen are diving in. The Jet Lion is providing... What harmony do you provide again? He provides yin, so he is actually buffing these guys up. They all have increased stats, so I like that combo quite a bit. 1 Peasant Archer is already gone, but the Grace of Kuei-Yin are now in range to start firing at Kugath, and they get shredded by the Soul Grinders due to their tightly packed formation. Iron Hail Gunners also trying to get into range. Kugath again bombs the Grace of Kuei-Yin. Peasant Horsemen stuck fighting Marauders. Not going great for them. Dogs swoop in and clean up the last of the Peasant Archers. And the Grace of Kuei-Yin are retreating. I think they still have skirmish mode on or something, because now all of these ranged units are running as the dogs have arrived, so they're not even going to get any damage out of Kugath. And that is going to be brutal. The Jet Lion has abandoned the Crowmen to their fate, fighting these Chaos Knights all alone. And what is it? TY. I'm not mad, you're mad. Okay. 1 second, I gotta post about a thing. To determine winner. One second. Our finalists are ready, so I'm just telling them what to do. Alright, cool. So our finals will get underway. And now I can stop focusing. Because I saw everyone was in round 4, and I was like, keeping a close eye, because I want the players to be able to get their games going and get to bed. You know, it is later over in Europe, so I don't want to keep them all up too late. What do we got going on here? Jade Lancers are still trying to fight with these Marauders of Nurgle. Jade Warriors are slowly crushing through that. The Jianggu War Drum is existing. He's vibing. Doing his best. He's not actually in range, I don't think, to give any of his buffs. That or I just don't see it. So, I don't think he's actually buffing up anyone with his, like, immediate surrounding buffs. That one. Or that one. Now, dogs will have a very tough time clearing out the Jade Warrior Crossbowmen and such. Jade Warrior Crossbowmen are just really armored and tanky lads. So the dogs should get pushed off here. Cathay should be able to secure their backline and start firing. But start firing is a very key component. They're on a ticking timer as Kugath drains away their front line. He's sitting in Celestial Dragon Guard right now, and he is not going to take any damage from that. He's going to be just fine. As the War Drum is now beating the drums, giving the Bastion of the Great Cities plus armor to all of these folks. And Jade Lancers did officially sweep out these Marauders. Maybe they can do something. Iron Hail Gunners trying to protect themselves from the Chaos Warriors of Nurgle who are coming in. They're doing their best, but Soul Grinder's firing in. Chaos Knight's going to rear charge sandwich them too. It's a bad time to be a poor little Iron Hail Gunner. Rip. Bounce Power's turned against Cathay, and I definitely agree. Their Crowmen are having a bad time. Peasant Horsemen are routed off. They have some Jade Warriors and some Jade Lancers that are doing rather well. But elsewhere, everything else is just kind of going to shit. The Jet Lion's still running back and forth trying to do something. The Celestial General is vibing. But The last of their range is now shut down with the grace of Ki and going to get sandwiched between dogs and Chaos Knights. There's just no shot to come back. And then all melee versus Nurgle equals Kugath slurps his way to victory in most cases. I don't know of a lot of melee that can kill Kugath. He is specifically designed to kill infinite melee things, but die to range within the blink of an eye. Like, basic archers can get so much value versus Kugath, but nothing can fight him. Jet Lion trying to help fight the Soul Grinder with some Onyx Crowman. Once again, giving them that melee buff to get him up to 48, 45 for melee stats. Soul Grinder is slowly getting whittled down. There's Chaos Warriors of Nurgle coming in to support, though. Without any ranged, it's brutal. The Soul Grinder is kiting out, trying to punish this little blob of Jade Warriors that has formed. And the poor Zhangzhou War Drum is getting taken down by Chaos Warriors of Nurgle. Because they just... Look at this guy! Look at this guy just kneeling and praying as his oxen get beaten to death. You wouldn't be kneeling so serenely if it was you getting beaten to death. Hashtag justice for the oxen. They're even trying to fight back. This is fucked up. This is the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. I love how the unit's unbreakable. Of course the unit's unbreakable. The people that would break are leaving the oxen to all the fighting. Ugh, I hate it. This makes me so sad. That these poor oxen. Hey, the game ended! For all we know, they lived! Fuck yeah. $2,500 for Kugath. Soul Grinders did okay on value. Chaos Knights did fine. Chaos Warriors and Nurgle did well. Dogs did well. And Marauders existed for the sake of the great plan. For Hollow Theorist, his Celestial General did alright. I didn't mind him too much. I wish he had brought the Spin. The Spin is actually pretty good for clearing out stuff. Onyx Crowman struggled to kill the Armored Knights or the Armored Soul Grinder. Jade Lancers did well. War Drum struggled. The Jet Line also struggled. GG. Hollow Theorist, please. Bring a caster, man. I believe this is the end of round 2. Where is this? Koala versus Anthrax. Oh, no, this is the start of round 3. Okay. Koala Duck versus Anthrax. Tomb Kings versus the Vampire Counts. The War Drum was tanky. It was very tanky. It was very tanky. And Anthrax has a caster. 2 RORs. Oh, yeah. You can't take 2 Chosen the Gods who shaft your great bows. FYI. I mean, shit happens. But in the future, don't do that. So we have 2 Shafted Great Bows, both are the RORs. Once again, as Pigman's pointing out, you can only have one of the RORs, and then the other would have to be a regular. We do have a Bone Giant, a Necro Sphinx, which I actually do like in this matchup a lot. Arkin the Black on his Chariot with his Summon, and then just Spirit Leech. 2 Nehekara Horsemen, a front line of Tomb Guard and Skeleton Warriors. So I like the build overall, even if that Chosen of the Gods was just a regular Ushabti. This is a pretty fine build. I was recently playing Odium Moore, and he was playing Tomb Kings, and Bone Giants wrecked Grom the Paunch on my greenskins. So, yeah, Bone Giants with the homing improvements, they do all right. They do all right. They're good poke. For the Vampire Counts, on the far side, they are getting a good fight with their Vargeist versus Nekar Horsemen. 2 more Vargeist over here. The Red Duke is here. Not our usual Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, but the Red Duke with Gaze of Nagash, his Zombie Summon, and Invocation Heck. 4 Cryptors, a Necromancer on his Corpse Cart with his Strokey Stroke Rod, a bunch of Skeletons and Zombies. Chosen the God shredding down a Vargeist as it attempts to get into the fight. Meanwhile, the Bone Giant is just taxing the Red Duke, already taking about a quarter of his HP off and focusing an Invocation of Heck. It's illegal. Yeah, I know it's illegal. This replay is in the past, and it's a new player tournament, so we're a little more lenient. Now, if this was Sipa versus Segos, I might have a word with the players about it. But for now, it's like, yep, this happened in the past. It's okay. Anyway. One of the Vargeists is about dead, but on the other side, a Nekar Horseman shares the same fate. Now, over here, the Nekar Horseman got a free charge onto the Vargeist, and the Vargeist's low armor and low melee defense means they will actually take significant damage from this Horseman unit, and they might want to consider getting out of here. The front line should go to the Tomb Kings with the Necro Sphinx supporting and just a better front line overall than their opponents brought, because we do have a bunch of Tomb Guard and Nekar Warriors and such. The Tomb Kings front line should hold or win the entire time. But their backline is a big problem. They've lost one Chosen of the Gods. It's at half HP. With Vargeist supporting the Red Duke, I doubt they'll last much longer. The other Chosen of the Gods takes about half its HP in damage, and the Bone Giant is currently swamped in Zombos. But overall, not a bad position for the Tomb Kings. They've killed 1.5 of the Vargeists, taxed the Red Duke's health quite a bit, and now he is fighting the Necro Sphinx. Which the Necro Sphinx can do okay if it focuses on him. El Sif, his big debuff, can only be cast on Lords and Heroes, so he can't debuff the Necro Sphinx, actually. It'll be just fine. Arkin and his Tomb Guard are fighting against these Crypt Horrors and stuff, which is cool, which is fine, but Arkin might be needed elsewhere, and the Necro Sphinx might be overextending a little bit. It is getting away from all of its support and just getting deeper and deeper into these Crypt Horrors and Skeleton Spears, which it'll want to be careful of. Also, it should just be in the back line, peeling off all these high-value targets. It shouldn't even be in the front line. It just needs to be following the Red Duke around. Wherever he lands, it needs to be ready for him, so yeah. Not the best positioning on it, or if it's going to be here, it should just kill the Necromancer and be done with it. Overcasted Invocation Heck from the Red Duke tries to buff up some of his front line that is dying. Elsewhere, Skeleton Warriors are going away. Both the Tomb Guard being on the same flank means that flank is going to win for sure. The Red Duke takes another Spirit Leech. Bone Giant's ambling away. Probably needs to keep firing at Vargeists or the Red Duke. Just needs to keep the pressure up. And the Ushabti summon is out from the Tomb Kings, flanking these zombies and spears. It's also going to help the Necro Sphinx out a little bit. But Necro Sphinx is a duelist. He does not clear out infantry particularly well, and he should really be somewhere where there's a duel to be done. Red Duke's still taking damage as he now picks a fight with the Bone Giant. Arkin is rear charging some Vargeists, and in conjunction with his Tomb Guard, he is getting decent damage onto them. Maybe he can get these guys to start crumbling. Maybe, possibly. Red Duke uses another Invocation Heck on himself. I wonder where his heal cap is. It can't be that far off, all things considered. Necro Sphinx now sitting in Spears and Crypt Horrors. It needs to just abandon this fight entirely and come around, go somewhere else. Bone Giant's going to fire at the Red Duke at almost point-blank range. Smokes him. Still no healing cap, which is real bad for the forces of the Tomb Kings. You were kind of hoping at this point the Red Duke was getting close to heal capped. Not just chilling. As Crypt Horrors and Spears are now surrounding your Bone Giant, Red Duke's going to rejoin the fight against that thing, take it down. Arkin's still trying to clear out this area, uses a Skeleton Warrior summon to try and poke things down. They're all approaching their heal caps and whatnot, but it is probably just too little too late for the Tomb Kings. As this is a fake Ushabti that's full HP, Necro Sphinx is half dead, Bone Giant's half dead and surrounded, Arkin's half dead and surrounded. That's just GG. Dust Bunny's gonna DM me a replay. Yeah, I have a history with Dust Bunny, so it's not gonna go to a request. Jeremy, that's a good one. That's a good one. How much is saying that slay cost? It was on the house. The Vargeist did stick through the entire fight. They hung in there. I mean, the third one died, but these two have been in for a while. But the Crypt Horrors were just good. Centerpiece for the formation, no problems there. And a Gaze into Gash hits the ground where the last Skellies once stood. I suppose I could hit end replay so we can actually see the values, huh? Why is Gojira hanging around with people? I thought he was banned from being near people. Alright. Red Duke did okay. He did alright. Vargeists both, well, the two that didn't die instantaneously did very, very well. The one that died on the approach obviously isn't going to get a lot of value. Crypt Horrors mixed, but overall darn good. Skeleton Spears, fine. Zombies, just fine. Arkin did well. Bone Giant did pretty well. The Necro Sphinx really struggled to get value out. The double Chosen the Gods did fine. The Tomb Guard did fine. Nekar Horsemen, not so much. Nekar Warriors and Skeleton Warriors did okay. GG. Alright, Shoxa versus Dust Bunny. Is this also in round 3? Yeah, Shoxy versus Dust Bunny Armada from round 3. Hey, it's Queek! When Shoxy played their first game on my channel, they played Queek Headtaker versus Demons of Chaos. I think it was Dr. Daird's Demons of Chaos. And they took Queek, and they're like, I like Queek, I'm going to make him work. And I said, good luck with that. Sorry, I have to check something. Dust Bunny, Dust Bunny, Dust Bunny, Dust Bunny, Dust Bunny. Okay, cool. I was making sure. Dust Bunny just sent me all their replays, but I only wanted to save the ones I didn't already have. So, yeah, Shoxy's back to making Queek try to work. We have Norska versus Skaven. Traditionally a bad matchup for the Skaven. Not unwinnable, but bad. We have 2 Norscan Warhounds on one flank, one of which is the Beast of Tashnar. We have Norscan Ice Wolves all over the damn place. Looks like 4 of them. Bunch of Skin Wolves, 2 Marauder Horsemen, so 4 Skin Wolves total. We have the Cold Voider Frostworm Regiment of Renown, a front line of basic Marauders, a Burning Head Caster of Fire, and Wolfric with Seafang. This is an excellent, very well put together anti-Skaven army. I like it a lot. It will be successful in many years to come. On the other side for the Skaven, we have Viction's Death Squad. Already a rocky start, but okay, let's get through it. Clan Rats with Spears, Skaven Slave Frontline, the Council Guard to protect Queek a little bit. We do have a Warlock Engineer with Flensing Ruin, Death Frenzy, and Howling Warp Gale. A couple Rat Ogres and 2 Warp Lightning Cannons. 3 Warp Lightning Cannons to try and offer some poke. Viction's Death Squad are okay, but not in this matchup, unfortunately. Norska just doesn't have any armor for them to sunder, and their armor piercing is put to waste, so a lot of what that unit's paying for is just not going to work out. The rest of the build's fine. I don't like triple Warp Lightning Cannon personally, but 1 or 2 is okay in this matchup. They do decent damage to Skin Wolves. You can poke down Throg or the enemy caster or something like that. The dogs discover Viction's Death Squad in the trees and immediately eat them alive, and Viction's Death Squad are starting to run away. This is probably too many dogs committed to the same unit. You could have 1 Skin Wolf and 1 dog fight, and then the other Skin Wolf can move forward. Meanwhile, the flanking doggos, including the Beast of Tashnar, getting onto some of the Warp Lightning Cannons, already shutting them down quite a bit. And the Cold Voider is tired of getting shot, so he's going to fly over here, and I wonder if he has a breath attack ready for those Council Guard. Oh, he does! It's really good breath attack targeting. Good job, Norscan player. I believe that's Dust Bunny. But I forget, yes, because it's Shoxy fighting, but I forget who the Norscan player is. I think it's Dust Bunny. I just want to see Wolfric and Queek fight. That's really all I want out of this. Dogs are pushed away, but not before they suicide for the Warp Lightning Cannon. Same with the Beast of Tashnar's in progress. And these Norscan Ice Wolves and Skin Wolves are still trying to get to their final Warp Lightning Cannon. This one is admirably still firing at the Cold Voider while being eaten alive by dogs, though. A lot of Skaven units break quickly, but man, the Warp Lightning Cannons just never do. I don't know what their deal is, but they're like legit unbreakable. Marauder Horseman trying to support a little bit. Wolfric and the Cold Voider route off some stuff, but Queek is here, and he wants to fight, and Wolfric opts in. Fuck yeah! Let's go! Standard Ground and Dwarf Gouger popped. On the other side, Trophy Heads is down onto Wolfric, but he pops Sword of Trollgald and Foe Seeker. Queek has Hunter Champions on him, so everybody's buffing and debuffing and buffing and debuffing each other. Queek is definitely getting the better of it, though. 48-5 versus 90 and 30 for melee stats is not a fight Wolfric is going to win. Wolfric is, in fact, getting massacred right now as he's also surrounded by Council Guard during this whole time. He's taking so much damage, but a nasty Burning Head will go down these Clan Rat Spears, kill them off, and maybe if it curves down into the valley, which it kind of is, nah, it curves away, it's going to be just fine. So it won't kill off all these guys, too. Meanwhile, a Flensing Ruin is trying to finish off Wolfric once and for all, and the Cold Voider is still flying away from Warp Lightning Cannons, who have Clan Rats defending the final Warp Lightning Cannon, trying to keep it alive. Now Queek gets assaulted by the Cold Voider. He'll need to report that to HR, but for now he's doing okay. Viction's Death Squad somehow survived the great purges of the dogs in the trees. I don't know how they're still alive, but they are. They're trying to chase Wolfric. He's going to get away from them, and they once again path back towards their own Marauder Horsemen, and dogs are still going to chase after them. Balance power is slightly in Norska's favor, but Skaven are doing about as well as they can hope to at this point. Marauders coming back to the fight. Dogs finishing off the last Warp Lightning Cannon, officially going to take the Skaven ranged offline entirely. Viction's Death Squad is still trying to get away from those Norscan Ice Wolves, but it's really not going that well for them. That dragon is just watching Wolfric die. It's true, Dust Bunny. It's true. Dust Bunny, sorry. Victor Death Squad to be good versus champs? Yes, but no one brings Marauder Champions versus Skaven, and that's the main problem. The Skaven are already amazing at killing armored units, so you don't really need Death Runners. The only matchup where Death Runners are useful is Dwarves, and that's because every unit the Dwarves have is so crazily armored that Death Runners are worth it. While most rosters, armor is very expensive, so you can bring 1 or 2 globes and the Avalanche Mortars and kill everything. Anyway, Wolfric is back with 6 leaderships standing at the edge of the map, ominously, just making sure that Norska's leadership does not start to falter. Queek and his Warlock Engineer are fighting back-to-back against infinite hordes of Marauders and Dogs. And these Dogs do need to sweep into the backfield and make sure that these Skaven that were routing stay routing. So sick of Flensing Ruin. It's pretty strong, though I honestly don't use it that much anymore. I don't know. There's a couple matchups where I do, but I usually just use Howling Warp Gale and Warp Lightning with the lore passive. Council Guard take another breath attack. They're down to 51 models as they're getting skirmish cabbed out. And Queek is stuck fighting a whole bunch of angry werewolves and marauders. Warlock Engineer does not have his Mortis Engine, which I'm sure he's sorely missing it right now. Skaven are trying to rally around Queek. It looks like they're trying to get back in here, but I mean, Norska just has so much mobility control that anything they route, they could permanently run off the map, which will make it hard to really coalesce around Queek and stay in the fight. Five models left for the Council Guard as they will get finished off on this next volley from the Marauder Horsemen. Cold Voider lands. It will tear out off several different Skaven, perhaps causing an army losses chain reaction. Maybe, though the Warlock Engineer does actually manage to stay in the fight for now. Dogs and Skinwolves and all this stuff is routing off things on the backline. And once again, I'm thinking that GG is right around the corner. There goes the Warlock Engineer, and does that tip the bounce power enough? No. Bounce power still really believes in Queek. I don't, but it does. Who dares message me? Okay, I'll deal with that later. Skaven forces are trying to rally. The Warlock Engineer actually did rally, which is probably why we haven't hit army losses just yet. But man, I don't know. There's 2 full health skirmish cab, even though they're out of ammo. There's 2 healthy Skinwolves running around. There's a half-health Fire Shaman. It's Oliver but the crying as Queek continues to fight his way out of a terrible situation. He has 900 value. Despite, like, 1v1ing Wolfric, he still only has 900 value. But he's fighting it out. I'm just waiting for army losses to kick in because I think the Skaven are doomed. Giga doomed. Once that Warlock Engineer routes, then Queek will go. There it is. That was a brave little Warlock Engineer. He had to get going eventually. For Shoxy, Queek almost broke 1,000. Council Guard did alright. Warlock Engineer did alright. Triple Warp Lightning Cannon did struggle. The one that got to fire got good value, but the rest got shut down by the Dogs. Clan Rats did what they could, but it wasn't enough. For Dust Bunny, Wolfric got massacred, but the Cold Voider did a lot of work. Its gold damage value apparently isn't very good at only 1,000, but I thought its breath attacks were on point. It had good charges. It terror-outed off a ton of stuff, so I thought the Cold Voider play was good. It just didn't amount in value, I guess. Dogs did very, very well. Marauders did well. Marauder Horsemen were on point too. Burning Heads were good. So GG. Good Norscan build. Very, very competitive, very strong. And this should be the last game of round 3. Shogunik on the Tomb Kings versus Hollow Theorist on the Ogre Kingdoms. And God damn it, he doesn't have a caster. Get a caster. I'm starting to get mad. Frostworm is an excellent distraction. Frostworm's actually really good in this matchup, though. It's pretty good. Had to do something on the Total Tyrant page. So, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? For the Tomb Kings of Shogun, we have 2 Skeleton Horse Archers, 1 Carrion, triple Ushabti Great Bow, 2 Sepulchral Stalkers, one of which is the Regiment of Renown, and then a front line of Skeleton Spearmen, secondary line of Skeleton Warriors, and Foot Cetra the Imperishable, chillin'. On the other side, for the Ogre Kingdoms, or should I say the Noblar Kingdoms. Noblars are strong and Ogres are bad. That's not true, but still. Anyway, we had some Noblar Trappers, we have Ogre Bulls, more Noblars. We do have a Hunter up on a Stonehorn. We have the Tyrant yet again. 1 Lead Belcher that is already almost dead before I even talk about him. A Man-Eater with great weapons, a Mournfang Cav, and 2 Noblar Trappers. The Lead Belchers do get sniped out by the triple Ushabti. Those guys are more than happy to fire at those Lead Belchers. And our Man-Eater's already getting Insurian's Incantation of Vengeance, plus the Sporkle Stalker shooting at them, plus Skeleton Horse Archer shooting at them. They were quickly identified as a threat, and with 40 armor and no shields, any missile fire is going to be brutal versus them. They are already almost dead. The Hunter is just throwing javelins at something. Maybe Cetra? Who knows? The Tyrant's currently kicking Cetra's ass. But elsewhere, the Ogre front line is very much blunted. Running into those spears is brutal. Sporkle Stalkers and Ushabti Great Bows firing in is also just really rough. Mournfang Cav trying to get into the fight, but already things are looking quite one-sided. The Hunter is lumbering forward. He's thinking about getting involved as the Tyrant continues to slap the King of Kings. Can the Hunter turn this around? Oh boy, he's trying. And some Ogre Bulls did get through certain elements of the front lines. They could continue onto the back line and just be annoying and start harassing stuff. Some Noblar Trappers are wandering forward. Mournfang Cav are catching those Skeleton Horse Archers slowly but surely and doing good damage to them. And the Tyrant's now falling back. I think some Ushabti are probably going to just focus onto him and make sure to kill him off outright. Put the Ogres in a bad situation. Another Insurian's Incantation of Vengeance on the Ogre Bulls. And the Hunter is pressuring some Ushabti. Mournfang Cav still trying to chase around the Skeleton Horse Archers. They should probably just dive in onto the Ushabti Great Bows at this point, rather than chasing around Skirmish Cav. Would be my feedback there. Cetra casts Jaff's Incantation of Curse Blades on himself to give himself a little bit more damage to help out these Tomb Guard versus the Hunter. Where did the Tomb Guard come from? I didn't even see them at the start of the game, but okay. That's fine. Also, Cetra just getting the healing out is good, but army losses is close for the Ogres. If the Tyrant routes, it might just proc, honestly. As a straight-up Ogre rush, unless executed perfectly, is actually hard to pull off these days. After all the nerfs. Hunter taking a ton of damage from Sporkle Stalkers and the Ushabti Great Bows. Army losses should be hitting. Somehow, there we go. I was like, somehow Army losses isn't it yet. But the Ogres are not having a good day. The Ogres are in fact having a bad day. Nobody likes Ogres. Nobody. Sporkle Stalkers, Ushabti Great Bows all did fine. Cetra did alright. Skeleton Horse Archers honestly almost paid for themselves even in that short of a game. Skeleton Spears did alright. For Hollow Theorist, his Tyrant did good. I'll give him that. His Tyrant did good. I liked that. The Hunter really struggled to get value. At first he was trying to throw, but then he's getting outshot. Then he tried to charge and just didn't get much done in melee, so he was kind of between two worlds. Lead Belchers got instantly outshot. Noblar Trappers were a good inclusion. And the Mournfang Cavs just struggled. GG. Yeah. Alright, is this the last round? Let me just check. Koala versus Anthrax. Shogun versus Shocky. Dust Bunny versus Hollow. Okay, yep. Just making sure I had them in the right order. Rounds 1 and 2 I was able to save before the stream started, but these ones I've been saving on the go, so I wasn't super sure what we were doing here. Alright. Koala versus Anthrax. Corn and Scabrinos. That is a lot of DACA from the Skaven. That is a lot of DACA from the Skaven. So on the Skaven side, we do have a Warplock Giselle, 2 Rattling Guns, 3 Rattling Guns, including the Teeth Breakers, a Warp Lightning Cannon, the Avalanche Mortars, a Death Glow Bombardier team, and then a front line of Clan Rats with Deathmaster Snitch as their lord. Still no caster. On the other side for Khorne, we do have Chaos Warhounds and Furies on both flanks. We have 2 Chaos Knights of Khorne, triple Minotaurs of Khorne, along with 4 Marauders, and then Valkyrie the Bloody. No caster, no caster. Dogs immediately get onto the Jezzails. We'll shut them down super quick, already down to half HP for that unit. Furies also hitting the Rattling Guns. Other Rattling Guns turn and start to fire at the Furies coming in. But it's not enough damage, not quickly enough, and the Rattling Guns will be shut down. Chaos Knights of Khorne are about to rear charge those other Teeth Breakers, so things are very, very rough for the Skaven on this start. They've lost 3 weapons teams, soon to be 4. Avalanche Mortars trying to fire at Minotaurs, but they're not going to do that much damage to those guys. They're better off shooting at, I guess, maybe the Chaos Knights. 1 Chaos Fury is killed off by the Teeth Breakers, and the Chaos Knights of Khorne do not have orders yet to attack the Teeth Breakers, so they do have to hurry up and do that. The Snitch is running around trying to help, but already these Chaos Warhounds of Khorne have gotten onto another Avalanche Mortar. Natty Bubo Sharpshooters on the high ground, still chilling. They're vibing, they're fine. Deathglow Bombardiers also getting eaten alive by the Furies. The Clan Rat frontline falls completely apart. They're already all routing, and nothing for the Skaven is standing. Oof. Learn and come back stronger next week? Yeah, that's what new player tourneys are for. If you want the sweaty tryhard stuff, come back Saturday. Saturday we have the sweaty tryhard tourney. This is just people trying to figure it out. This is people just struggling their way through the world like any of us, putting one foot in front of the other, and they don't appreciate your fucking criticism. How dare you? How dare you? This is fucking brutal. Deathmaster Snitch is left alone in a sea of Khorne. Everything else for him is routing besides the Warp Lightning Cannons, which we have agreed literally never route. A rear charge from Chaos Knights does knock them off their cannons, though. That'll be enough damage to cause army losses to hit. And poor little Deathmaster is running for the hills to get back below Cathay, where he's nice and safe. I played green one in this matchup, and that actually went kind of similar. He took like 6 Minos and then 8 dogs. I think like 4 Fleshhounds and 4 regular dogs, and he just ran at me, and it was awful. It was an awful time. Saturday will just be Human Boy playing his favorite faction, Cathay, all day. Oh, easy. Easy Cathay games. Most of the weapons teams got shut down before they could even fire. The Clan Rat frontline instantly disintegrated, and there's not a lot of tale to tell there. What? 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 Cathay versus Slaanesh. How did we get Cathay versus Slaanesh? This matchup's terrible for Slaanesh. And then, when we got Cathay versus Slaanesh, how did we get N'Kari versus Cathay? N'Kari is never good, but is debatably only potentially good versus undead or demon factions where units disintegrate entirely, giving him his heal proc. Mortal factions are so hard to get N'Kari's heal. N'Kari's heal, you have to kill an entire enemy unit. Okay, alright. Slaanesh versus Cathay. Soul Grinder of Slaanesh. N'Kari, some Fiends. Exalted Demonettes paired with a front line of Devoted Marauders with Hell Scourges and Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh. 2 Hellstriders Slaanesh with some Hell Scourges, and that is it. On the other side for Cathay, we have Peasant Long Spears, Firing Rockets, Peasant Horsemen, Jade Warrior Crossbowmen across the front line, 1 Iron Hail Gunner, Zhao Ming the Iron Dragon, and a Jade Warrior frontline with 2 Onyx Crowmen for support. All right, let's see it. I am super not convinced. I think Cathay wins this super easy. Easy clap, easy game, easy life. We'll see if N'Kari can do it. He can't, but we'll see if he can do it. He can. What does a Skaven build look like versus Khorne? Still working on that, but there's a couple things you can do. You can either spam Eshin Triads and Rat Ogres and Clan Rats of Spears and just try and hold. with a couple Poison Globes, or you can go very shooting heavy with some Night Runners, the 360 shooting variant. Some Night Runners, some Rattling Guns, some Globes, and then a pretty limited front line, because your front line's going to get caved in either way. Either one of those strategies can work. It's a tough matchup for the Skaven. It's Khorne favored, but not unwinnable. It's kind of like Norska. It's just any faction with really good aggressive mass, like Minotaurs or Chaos Spawn or Skinwolves, are going to be tough for Skaven. Yeah, so it's been brutal. I don't know, but everybody besides me thinks Skaven's a great faction apparently. So I guess maybe I should just shut up. But yeah, I would say Khorne versus Skaven is Khorne favored. All right, Slaanesh is punching through. Their Fiends and their Hellstriders trying to get through all those spears. They will take a ton of damage. Nakari managed to get through, as did the Soul Grinders. They're finally into the Cathay box, and they are pushing these guys around, going to tear off some Peasant Horsemen already. Slaanesh is desperately fighting at the edges, though their Exalted Demonettes are getting stopped dead by the Jade Warriors. And now with the rear charge to the Onyx Chroman, that Exalted Demonette is already gone. The Hellstriders are already gone. And the Fiends did push their way straight through, once again proving some strange resilience. While I wouldn't call them a good unit, they are actually feasible the more I see them. Feasible, not good. Just mid. Soul Grinder and Nakari doing as much disruption as they can as Zhao Ming attempts to help the front line clear out Marauders and Chaos Warriors. But Cathay is quickly making a little pocket of safety over here from which their archers can fire and their Crowmen and Spears can walk over to help out. Slaanesh is running out of lower tier troops, so it'll get down to just Fiends, Nakari, and the Soul Grinder in a giant pile of the best spears in the game, and they'll die. Cap charge into Brace Spears in the back. Oof, yeah. I mean, with a box, Slaanesh doesn't have a lot of options to try and break the enemy's charge defense before they charge in. Fiends about to Demonic Instability crumble. Nakari's still full HP and very expensive, so the Balance of Power hasn't quite counted Slaanesh out yet, but you'll see as Nakari takes damage, that Balance of Power is going to just tank against Slaanesh. Jade Warriors, the Peerless Warriors that kill stuff many times their own value. Well, they don't kill it, they'll just hold forever. That's the main thing about Jade Warriors, is their DPS is laughably bad, but they'll hold. Oh boy, they'll hold. Zhao Ming turns into human form just to check out a final transmutation. Is it Overcast? It is also Overcast. It hits both single entities of Slaanesh, dealing good damage to them. With every tick of the final transmutation, we see a tick down of the Balance of Power bar. And I do definitely agree. Nakari's below half HP. Army losses is going to hit soon. And archers continue to poke at Nakari. There's no hope for Slaanesh at this point. And I will hit fast forward. One more Swish stage replay, and then we'll move on to our final. It is a best of 3. I have one replay from that best of 3 waiting for me. Hovering over the values, nothing really crazy standing out to me, and the game was very short, so just, if you care about anything, you can pause at the point where it was hovered over. All right. Last replay from the group stage. The Glorious Dust Bunny Armada versus Hollow Theorist. And we do have a spicy one. Kislev versus High Elves. But that's a goddamn Sun Dragon and Lion Chariots of Krace versus the Kislev ROR Elemental thingy. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Inject it straight into my veins. Give me that giant ice bear. God, he sucks, but just give it to me anyway. Okay. My hype is immeasurable. We have double Sullyx Lullaby, which I'm pretty sure you can't do that because it's limited uses. Anything with limited uses is limited to 1 per roster, but whatever. It's a new player tournament, we'll chill. If Dust Bunny's still in the chat, just know that for next time, but it's not really a big deal. Anyway, Patriarch and Castalton both offering some of those healing and buff auras for their bros. We have the Oath Brothers of Tor, Warbear Riders Regiment of Renown. And then we do have the Tempest Caster with Blizzard and Hailstorm. Cossars of Spears, Armored Cossars, great weapons, and then some basic Cossars, including the Watchmen and the Knight Regiment of Renown for frontline. Pretty small Kislev build. The other side against the High Elves, we have Rangers, who are already caught in the woods, a Lion Chariot of Krace, a Silver Helm, 1 Illyrian Reaver Archer, 3 Lothern Sea Guard for front line, more Rangers, more Silverin Guard, a White Lion of Krace, a High Magic Caster with all of her spells on her Eagle, but hey, it's still a caster, and a Sun Dragon. Usually if you take a caster, you want to limit yourself probably to 2 spells, maybe 3, but probably just 2. Because that's how many spells you're actually going to get effective use out of throughout the game. But I'll take a caster over no caster. That's improvement. Oh yeah, also the Frozen Heart of Winter's here. I just kind of walked right past him. Frozen Heart of Winter is the Regiment of Renown Ice Bear. Damn, my rule broke? It's true. It's true. You'll be punished horribly for this, Dust Bunny. Alright. Frozen Heart of Winter is now fighting the Sun Dragon. It's the battle of fire and ice, and only one of them even has their attribute. Sun Dragon doesn't have fire attacks, so get fucked, Sun Dragon, I guess. And it's doing its best. It just now got hit for the first time. The Oath Brothers of Tor are coming too. Ooh, that dragon's gonna have to get out of there. He does not want to be here when those ice bears arrive, and they're all here. Oh, that's a dead Sun Dragon. That's the deadest Sun Dragon you ever did saw. As a Fiery Convocation comes down, actually does a little bit of damage to those Armored Kossars, though it was aimed off kilter, unfortunately. The High Elves are trying to get through the Kislev front line, and they're doing good damage overall with a mix of their archers and their infantry. Doing good there. Sun Dragon did manage to live, but now the Lion Chariots of Krace are the next up. And man, those Oath Brothers of Tor aren't fucking around. They will tear apart your Lion Chariots. Oh no. Oh no. Frozen Heart of Winter is out, chucking out his namesake, the Bound Heart of Winter, to hurt all these Lothern Sea Guard around him. Meanwhile, he is getting shot by some other things. High Elves are very behind on the balance of power, and I do definitely agree. While the Kislevite front line has suffered a horrible toll, their back line is doing just fine. With the Frozen Heart of Winter very healthy, these Oath Brothers of Tor very healthy, and the Sun Dragon is landing to avenge the Lion Chariots, who sacrificed themselves to save it. And there's much ouch. Sun Dragon's down to 23-21 for melee stats because the Oath Brothers of Tor Lightning put them a little off guard. And I think that is about that. I don't know what the High Elves can do to kill all of these bears. Patriarch's down to half HP. There's plenty of healing left for him. Yeah. Silverin Guard swamping this Frostbane of Ice and beating her ass. Meanwhile, some armored Kossars and Kossars desperately attempt to shoot in and save her from her fate. She is down to half HP. And there's another Fiery Convocation. Gets a little bit of damage down before it sails off into the distance. The Archmage of High Magic is down there fighting. Sun Dragon is returning to the fold, but Army Loss is going to hit the High Elves pretty darn soon here. There it is. And that was the last of our Swiss stage. Now, we did have 2 players go 4-0 if you were paying super close attention. Koala Duck and Shogun did not lose a single game. They never fought each other either. So they are currently enwrapped in a best-of-3 final. I gave them maps and I gave them pick order a couple rounds ago. They should be well along with that. I only have 1 replay waiting for me. So I wonder if they're still in Game 2 or if I just haven't received that other replay. But I saw Shogun in our chat, so that's why I'm saying that out loud, is to subtly hint, hey Shogun, if you're done with your second game, send that. If you're not done with it, then play your second game. That was a huge breath attack. Good effort, though. It's not easy coming in multiplayer. No, it's not. It really is not. The Bears did well. Kislevite frontline struggled. For the High Elves, their frontline did well. Honestly, the Dragon got pretty good value. So did their caster. Rangers struggle really hard versus Kislev. If they run into the enemy frontline, it's going to be so armored they can't get through it. But, yeah, GG. So the 2 established players in the finale? Yeah, it's not shocking. That's what the new player tournaments are for, man. You get some people who are really learning, and you have some people who are on the cusp of breaking out. like I did say at the start, Shogunix won a new player tournament before, but we were having decreased signups. So I did put out an offer that people who have won a tournament before could submit some replays and be determined whether or not they're still new-ish. Because it's not like Shogunix was playing perfect games. I mean, we'd have to go back and rewatch all the replays. Well, he went 4-0. It wasn't like it was a shit stomp every time. Right? There was I believe it was Shogunix who was playing Skaven versus the double Dreadquake mortars. And if the blunderbusses had been told to attack Ikit, at one point Shogunix would have thrown his lord away because Ikit was just in the backfield with two blunderbusses able to shoot him, but they didn't get orders fast enough to punish him. Right. I'm trying to think of his other games just offhand that I could remember big moments. So, yeah. It's not like Shogunix hard smurfing and no one can beat him. And Koala is also pretty good. I mean, they both went 4-0. Which is nice. Because I would honestly feel a little bad if Shogunix came in, went 4-0, and everyone else went like 2-2, and everyone else was kind of the same rough experience level, and Shogunix was just shit stomping them, and I'd be like, well, I fucked up, but no, there's another person who went 4-0. Koala. Well, I'll quit stalling. We have game 1 of the finals to start off with. So let's get it going. Game 1 of a best of 3 between Koala and Shogunix to determine the winner of this tournament. And it is Shogunix on the Skaven versus the Dark Elves of Koala. Oi! This is a good build from Koala, but it's very, very, very micro-intensive. We'll see if he can pull it off. I'm concerned. And I'm not trying to just be an asshole. I think if you handed me that Koala Duck army, I couldn't pilot it. Like, that's what I mean by I'm not trying to be like an asshole. Like, oh, me, the perfect player. I could play this, but I don't know about any newbie. It's like, no, looking at this build, this is going to be very, very fucking hard on your micro to pull off. It's a good build if you can run it, but I know very few players who can, so I'm immediately concerned. All right, let's start with the Skaven side. Glorious Dust Bunny? Hell yeah, dude. We hope not to lose you, dude. Dude, Dust Bunny? Dust Bunny. There is a lot of new players around right now. I hope you don't go back into hiding, because now is a great time. ICG on our Discord is very new. We saw 2 other super new players in this tournament, but I'm already forgetting their names because I just haven't like really memorized them yet. Arabian Sandboa was playing, and he literally had like 1 multiplayer game before joining us. It's Anthrax and... Damn it, who's the other one? Anthrax and who? Shoxy's pretty new, but Shoxy's pretty good. Hollow Theorist, that's it. That's a really new one. So, hopefully you can find some games with them. Train up together. Shoxy's new and Lulu Snugglebun are new, but they're both getting very, very good very quickly. Because Shoxy today had some weird-ass builds, like Queek and Nakai and stuff. Sorry, not Nakai. Nakari, but like they played well. That's where Shoxy's at right now. I can't tell if they're just playing for fun or if they actually think those builds are good. But assuming they think those builds are 100% meta, Shoxy has really good micro, but their builds are bad. And again, they could just be playing for fun builds in a for fun way, but yeah, Shoxy's micro is solid. Good decision making on where the units need to be, good all that stuff. It's just usually their builds are letting them down. But enough farting around. Let's actually cast the game in front of us. So for the finals, game 1, Shogunix has the Teeth Breakers, 1 Warp Lock, Warp Lock Giselle, 3 Poisonwind Globes, an Assassin with Rival High Talisman and Assassin's Trophy, a Grey Seer with Dread 13th and Howling Warp Gale. We have 4 Rat Ogres spaced throughout, 1 Wolf Rat with Poison, and then a bunch of Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves. On the other side, for the Dark Elves, it is 4 Dark Rider Peter Crossbows, 4 Dark Riders Regular, 2 Coldland Knights, 4 Black Arc Corsair Handbows, a Firecaster with Fireball and Burning Head, and Malice Darkblade. This is a great build versus Skaven because you have almost no melee infantry that have to commit and get blown up by Poison Wind Globes. You can kite out the Skaven, and then with your extreme cavalry presence, you can really isolate all their stuff and shut them down. Even if you have to suicide a few Dark Riders to kill things like Jezzails, it's usually worth it. Malice can run in solo, and just Malice alone is your front line versus the Skaven. He just does a lot of disruption, things like that, while you shoot in with your armor-piercing repeater crossbow cav, and the Blacker Corsairs just kite around, and they'll come in the late game is usually what happens with them, because they don't have enough range to stay outside of the range of the globe, so that's why these guys need to be backing off right now. But in the late game, once Malice and his cav have killed all the globes, then they run in and they're a decent hybrid melee combatant to kill off clan rats and stuff and help Malice out a bit. Definitely not. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway. Dark Riders do commit to a fight against Clan Rat Spears, but they're right in front of the Teeth Breakers, and that point-blank shot took out an entire Dark Rider unit. Another Dark Rider is getting finished off by those repeater crossbows, and the Sorceress of Fire is currently getting shot by the Jezzail, so a very rough start for the Dark Elves so far. Dark Rider repeater crossbows also firing at Poison Wind Globes, but their own Dark Rider compatriot is in their way, so they're mostly obstructed, and now they're getting into melee with dogs and rat ogres and spears, so that is going a little poorly for them. Malice has done what Malice does and YOLOs straight into the Skaven front line, and that is going well for the Dark Elves at least. Golden Knights are now starting to commit, but we'll see what happens with them, and these other Dark Riders are running away from rat ogres for now. So far, all the Skaven weapons teams are still online and firing. Malice has not been able to kill the Grey Seer just yet, and a lot of the Dark Elf skirmish cav is struggling to get value. Could you please, instead of just listening to the instant you talk about the builds in the beginning, sing the tune of 12 Days of Christmas? No! No! Anyway. Teeth Breakers firing at the Black Corsair handbows. They're firing over Malice, so it looks silly, but they're actually aiming past him, so it's fine. These Golden Knights finally get in here, and 3 weapons teams are routing off right next to them. The repeater crossbows are firing, it looks like, at the Rat Ogres surrounding Malice, so they might want to just shoot the Grey Seer right in front of their eyes, and the Black Corsair handbows are attempting to get some stuff done. Skaven are very far ahead on the balance of power, and I do agree. More Dark Riders recommit to the fight, but they land on Clan Rat Spears instead of the Teeth Breakers, and Tazarkan is popped. Now Malice is going for the desperate Lord Snipe on the Skaven. Always a tried and true strategy if you can kill them off. But we're about to lose 2 more Dark Riders repeater crossbows in the back, which will leave us with a grand total of 2 left on the map, though this one is currently in melee and having a bad time of it. Rat Ogres and the Assassin sniping out the Sorceress of Fire, and the Grey Seer is taking decent damage. Rattling Guns now turning to fire at the Coldwind Knights, who are very injured, but the Rattling Guns do not do nearly enough damage to them, so the Coldwind Knights' charge will complete. Those Rattlings should be shut down for a brief moment, though the Golden Knights might get pushed off by these Spears and Rat Ogres, who knows. Can you sing them the Pokemon theme? No. No! Skaven C tier okay? I think mistakes were made. It was a very difficult build to pull off. And there's just way too much going on. Too many times the repeater crossbows got caught in melee, or the Corsairs got caught in the front line by globes and things like that. It was brutal. Teeth Breakers firing into the Dark Riders, pushing them off, and they will shatter. Army loss is going to hit very soon for this Skaven. It'll be down to just Tazarkan. I don't think he can clean all of this up by himself. He's spooky, but he's not invincible. And that is a Skaven win for Game 1. I've received Game 2 literally as we cast that one, so I have no idea if this is the final game or Game 3, and if either of the players is in chat, then, I mean, don't tell me, bruh. If there's a Game 3, good luck with Game 3. If not, then we'll find out in just a second. Hovering over the values, the weapons teams did fine, and yeah, it's such a hard build to pilot, man. There's so much going on. It's fucking brutal. Too bad we didn't get to see much of the healing Skaven build I've been hearing about. Nah, dude. Nah. That's it. That's it. Y'all can make fun of me all you want. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about ever. I guess I'm just wrong all the time. It's fine. But then, when I stop streaming Total War, and you guys have no multiplayer streamers left, there's no one, then where will you be? Then you wish you were a little bit nicer to old Hummus. You would be nicer to people if you love them. Sorry, I'm just messaging. One of the players in the finals messaged me, so I'm answering it so that if there is a game 3, they can keep game 3 going. Okay, so how the pick and ban worked. It's not like our traditional best of 3s. Our new player tournaments, depending on how long the tournament goes, how scheduling is going, and how the finals work out. Where this one, it was easy. We had 2 players with a 4-0. Cool. Throw them in a best of 3, done. But if you have like 1 player who went 4-0, then you have 2 people tied with 3 wins and 2 people tied for 2. It gets a little sticky. So this one's super simple, a 4-0, 4-0 versus each other. I told them to do a best of 3, and I gave them criteria. In that criteria, it did not say you can only play a certain faction once, which is fine. I didn't intend for it to. And the players were just asking me if Koala is allowed to play Dark Elves twice, which I said, yeah, I didn't say you couldn't. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Done getting that. What is that? I don't know what you people are talking about. I'm skipping past that. I'm busy up here. So, in game 2, looks like Koala put Dark Elves in his pick 2, and when he saw Nurgle was his opponent, he stuck with Dark Elves. So for the Dark Elves, if you want a game 3, you are rooting for the Dark Elves to turn it around this game. 3 Reaper Bolt Throwers, 2 Cold One Knights, a Sorceress of Fire with Flamestorm and Flaming Sword of Ruin, triple Black Arc Crusader Handbows, double Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows, and a 3rd Cold One Knight down with Malice Darkblade once again. On the side of Nurgle, we have a very broad front line with Plague Bearers of Nurgle. It has been a while since I've seen naked Plague Bearers. 3 Nurglings, a whole bunch of Marauders, triple Marauder Horsemen of Throwing Axes, and then the Hero squad of Nurgle that I haven't seen in at least a month and a half. Double Exalted Hero of Nurgle, and then their Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Alright. Flaming Sword of Ruin is cast onto the Reaper Bolt Throwers, but unfortunately only hits 1. I think that's why Koala has them so close together. He's trying to cast Flaming Sword of Ruin on all 3 of them. There, now the Flaming Sword of Ruin hit that other one. That looked weird. And now it's hit that... What? Why is it, like, spreading? Did he cast it on the ground and I just can't see the circle and units are passing in and out of the circle? That looks so weird. It looks like Flaming Sword of Ruin is like Rot, Glorious Rot, or one of Nurgle's things that spreads. Anyway. The Bolt Throwers are here in case of Kugath or something, but there is no Kugath. It's a mass infantry rush, so these Bolt Throwers have no targets and they have no time, because their front line is retreating towards them as the Skirmishers are firing backwards into Marauders and Plague Bearers of Nurgle. The other Skirmishers are also firing at the Plague Bearers, and Malice is dove out. But pretty soon, these Bolt Throwers are going to be shut down. They're all trying to path over to these Marauder Horsemen and trying to get some damage out there, but they are walking straight into Marauders, which will get them killed as they... Man, they are charging through these Marauders, though. That's got to be some impact damage. Alright. Anyway, Cold Knights get a downhill charge on some Marauders. Do push those guys back. Other Cold Knights are going to surround the Marauders of Nurgle. Sorry, the Exalted Heroes of Nurgle. The exact opposite of Marauders. And 59 melee defense is way too much for their pathetic 29 melee attack and 14 bonus versus large. They're getting 0 damage onto the Exalted Heroes of Nurgle right now. A Flamestorm is cast from the Dark Elves to try and kill off some Marauders. A lot of Vortex spells recently got buffs by moving slower or having increased damage or decreased costs. And it kills an entire Marauder before going into some Nurglings, so that is some good stuff from Flamestorm. Malice is trying to carry as 3 Skirmish Cav, all with throwing axes, are clumped up on each other. They should be more spread out. Because when they're clumped up like this, they're more vulnerable if something shoots them, and it'll shoot all of them. But also, they kind of obstruct each other's line of sight, so only one of them will effectively throw. The rest just stand around in their way. Dark Elf Bolt Throwers are offline. Of the Cold One Knights, there were 3 of them at the start of the game. One is just about dead. One's over here rear charging like a badass. The other one is fighting the Exalted Hero of Nurgle off all on their own. Nurglings are going to offer some support, but even then, the Exalted Hero is kind of whooping their ass by his lonesome. It's looking like another tough game for the Dark Elves. Plague Bearers surrounding Malice. They do have really good mass, and Malice on Spite does not have a ton of mass, so he might have trouble getting out of here if he even wanted to. And they do have an impressive giant HP pool, really good melee defense, so they'll just hold Malice here for a nice long time while the rest of the Nurgle build runs around and kills off other stuff. Malice, more like Maluz. Nurglings fighting these Cold Knights. Murderous Prowess is finally procced for them, giving them much more melee attacks so they can finally get through the Exalted Heroes. And that is why you don't have all your Skirmish Cav in the same spot, as a nasty Flamestorm goes through all of them. It kills all 3 Skirmish Cav! Ah, it's a disaster! Ah! No! Oh, no! And the Sorceress of Fire is just gonna chase him off the map. That's too funny, man. That's too funny. Alright, bounce power gets a little bit better after that one. That was a huge play for the Dark Elves to stay in this game. Cold Knights are trying to bail Malice out against those Plague Bears of Nurgle. Dark Rider Peter Crossbows are uncontested. There's nothing mobile enough to really keep up with these guys now that the Marauder Horsemen are gone. Exalted Heroes are slower than them, but they could keep under pressure. Oh, no. Are the Marauder Horsemen going to be allowed to rally? As Curse of the Slug slows down the Sorceress of Fire, they are allowed to get away, but their health might be too low. They might just go off the map anyway. Nope, some of them are rallying. That is unfortunate for the forces of the Dark Elves. They would have liked to have had that. Dark Rider Peter Crossbows are occasionally getting caught in Nurglings and by these Exalted Heroes. Both the Exalted Heroes are kind of injured, and Malice is chillin', which is something that we have to be worried about. Malice is completely fine. Demonic Instability will take one of the Plague Bearers, and the Firecaster did end up landing and is trying to get rid of these Marauder Horsemen all by herself, but the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle is nearby, and another Flamestorm is here to just ruin the day of the Marauder Horsemen. Is it going to curve into these other ones? It looks like it is a little bit. It's tickling them, but it won't quite take them out. And now the Sorceress of Fire is surrounded and getting murdered. Malice and his Cold Knight still fighting back against all of these Plague Bearers of Nurgle. And I want to see her HP pool, but I imagine it's not doing well. Yeah, she's currently getting her ass kicked. Boiled alive. Yeah, it was rough. Malice is still vibing. Still vibing and surviving. There's a lot of Nurgle left, and losing your caster is going to be pretty darn tough. I'm going to fast forward quick, because the 2 fights that matter are both extremely slow grinds against Nurgle. There goes the Sorceress of Fire. She is officially routed. We still have some Repeater Crossbows running around, but now with the Marauder Horseman throwing axes back online, they can actually charge into them like that and get some decent damage and poison them, slowing the Repeater Crossbows down and allowing Nurgle to actually catch up. Malice needs to transform before Army Losses hits if he's going to become Tazarkan, but I don't think even Tazarkan can carry this game. But if Army Losses hits before he hits the button, the timing doesn't work out, so he does end up losing like that. Again, though, I don't think Tazarkan is going to carry that game. Shogunik does prevail, despite leaving all 3 of his Skirmish Cav right on top of each other and getting them roasted alive. Don't do that. But the Plague Bearers were secretly the heroes of the day, man. They got a lot of value from fighting Malice. A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Marauders did good. Nurglings did fine. GG. For Koala, 2,000 value on the Flamestorm caster. Let's go. Malice also did fine. Cold Knights did okay. Blackguard Corsair Handbows didn't do that well. Reaper Bolt Throwers had nothing to shoot at. They were ready for Kugath, and they did not. They did not get Kugath. Dark Rider Pure Crossbows didn't get a lot of value either. G mother flippin' G. Alright, somebody asked me something a while ago. What was it? They asked for a build. I forget why they wanted a build. I'm looking around to just try and remember what faction we were talking about. God. Oh, Ogres versus Tomb Kings. Yeah, okay. Ogres versus Tomb Kings. Probably Slaughtermaster, either of Beasts. And I'm being serious. Like, this is 100% serious time. Versus Tomb Kings, you can either go Beasts with Flock of Doom to spam on Tomb Guard in the late game, plus Curse of Onra here to lower the spear stats, or Transformation of Kadon to get a Manticore and poke down Arkan or Ushapti Grapos. That's one way. Or you can go the way of the Great Maul and go with Bone Crusher. I would just go Bone Crusher, but some people also like Bull Gorger. I would just go Bone Crusher. And then if you're just going Bone Crusher, you don't have Troll Guts, so keep Blood Gruel, just heal up your caster, because you know Arkan's going to be Spirit Leeching you the whole game. You just know it's going to happen. Ushapti Grapos are also going to be poking at you, so just keep Blood Gruel. It only heals up your Lord, but you need the healing here. Because you might be like, well, Boy, what about Blood Cleaver? You're not taking it, and here's why. You can't stand in a fight. You just can't. With the Slaughtermaster, everything that you're going to be fighting is a spear, so you can't heal off of them very well. And you're going to be getting sniped. So what you're probably going to have your caster do is sit in a nearby forest or behind a rock or some piece of terrain to keep him safe and cast Bone Crushers from a distance. So cut Belly Slapper, because as we just established, he's not going into melee. And cut Extra Ingredients, because as we just established, he's not going into melee. Like, there's just no good melee fights for you versus the Tomb Kings as this fucking guy. Unless they bring Skeleton Warriors, but, like, then your opponent would make a mistake. So I'm making this build under the assumption that your opponent's going to play correctly. So this is probably what your Lord is going to have. Anyway, to further get rid of the Tomb Kings, I actually do like one Gorger. You can put it behind your enemy, they can stalk up, and then they can harass Ushapti Grapos. The important thing is not to just YOLO them and leave them. You can run them in and fight the Ushapti Grapos, and then when the enemy comes back to fight you, they walk away, right? They just walk away. If Arkan's going to burn summons on you, just walk away. But you're there to be annoying. It's just what Saber-Tusk packs do, but they don't... Gorgers don't rampage and they actually have armor piercing. And they're useful in the late game if you need them. So you treat Gorgers kind of like Cav. Other than that, I do like Ogre Bulls with Iron Fists. You probably want 4 of these guys, 4 of these guys. I don't mind 1 Lead Belcher. It's risky, though, because as we saw, if they go with Ushapti Great Bows, like the Tomb Kings versus Ogres match we saw, the Ushaptis can really outshoot the Lead Belchers, so I'd probably just leave your 4 Noblar Trappers to be your ranged component. And if the enemy's going to hard box, you do have 4 Trappers and you have Bone Crusher in the late game to deal with Tomb Guard. So, you'll be okay. Aside from that, this is like the base build that I would always take, regardless of map and regardless of opponent. Probably 1 more Iron Fist or something. After that, if you want, you could go with a Hunter on a Stonehorn to just cycle charge through stuff and receive Butchers. Or you could go with a mass amount of Iron Guts. Iron Guts, even after their nerfs, are still pretty good, even against Tomb Guard. So you can grab 3 Iron Guts is probably the safer way to go. And then another Gorger and an Ogre Bowl with dual weapons. Or you could grab... probably not Mornfang Cav. The problem with Mornfang Cav here is they're going to get bogged down in spears. And the Tomb King's mobility, all of their mobility loses to your Ogres anyway. Like, Ogre Bulls could just run at Nakar Horsemen. They could run at Skeleton Horsemen. You're going to be completely fine. So you don't really need any of your cavalry. You don't need Saber-Tusk packs. So you could, like... if you're feeling real cheeky, you could just get a bunch more fucking Bulls or something. Or you could get 1 Lead Belcher, save it to the late game, and if you kill off the Ushapti Great Bows, then bring it out of hiding. That's another way you can do it. You could get an Iron Blaster if I save 50 gold somewhere. Again, you're going to have the issue of Ushapti Great Bows, though, so that's a tough call. How much does a Hunter even cost? Could do something like this, honestly. 3 Iron Guts. Gorger. Hunter on his thingy. We have 200 extra gold somewhere that I could spend on something. Probably get the Noblars, Bogblars. But at this point, you get the gist. Anyway, that's what I do versus Tomb Kings. It feels like a rough matchup after all the Ogre's nerfs, though. It's winnable, but not great. Alright, Shogunik says thanks for the tourney. Thanks for winning it, Shogunik. Good job, you. Congrats on winning yet again. Gorges are useful. Damn, I've been gone for a while. Yeah, they just got some nice buffs. They got a pretty meaningful health increase, which is good for them. It's nice. Ogre Kingdoms against Tomb King has struggled a bit against Kite, Lead Belchers, and Iron Blasters. Iron Blasters outrange Shoppy. Yeah, I find Iron Blasters too inaccurate at a long range, though, so they're going to have to get close enough to do meaningful damage that your Shoppies can counterfire them. I don't think Iron Blasters are that good, except versus mostly melee factions. I've seen them do decently against Brett, but that was before Hippogriff Knights were insane. Would a Crusher Rush be effective versus Tomb Kings? No. Firebelly to clear out Tomb Guard? We saw that a bit. The Firebelly did okay, but I still just don't think it's cost effective. Because to get a Firebelly, let's see how much more expensive it is. To get a Firebelly, you need a Lord, so you're probably going to go with a Tyrant because you don't want 2 casters. Even if you take him butt naked, you're already paying a 300 gold premium on your Lord, even if he's naked. Then you need to buy a Firebelly. You need to grab Burning Head, Kindle Flame, and nothing else. You're paying 1,400 more gold just to take Burning Head on your caster, rather than having your caster as a Lord. That's so much money. It's so much money, man. And that's like, I've talked about it before, but that's why I generally don't like the Firebelly, is it's not his fault, it's the Lord slot's fault. Because without any other good Lord, without any good Lord, period, I just want a Slaughtermaster to keep him cheap and to have my caster and get it out of the way, and then get more Ogres elsewhere. But if you have the Firebelly, it's like, okay, but now, who the fuck do I put in my Lord slot? Greases? Or a Tyrant? It's awful. Which is why I think it would be a huge boon to the Ogre Kingdoms in a good way if there was a Firebelly Lord option. Like, there's Slaughtermaster, and then there's Butcher. There should be, like, Firebelly, and then, like, Volcano Hydrant! Or some shit. I don't care. But just give me a fire option for a Lord so I don't have to pay a goddamn gigantic premium to take a hero to do it. It's so expensive. Go Greasus, then? Greasus versus the Tomb Kings? What are you all on drugs? I don't like you guys. I don't like you guys. You guys are all bullies to me. Alright. You remember what I said earlier in the stream? When I said that this was my last stream ever because you guys are all bullies? There you go, because you're all bullies. Does a Scrag have some caster abilities? Yes, but that brings me back to my point, right? Where, like, Scrag's actually okay. I have seen some people take Scrag, but, like, you're not going to take Scrag and a Firebelly. So, yeah. The conversation wasn't the Slaughtermaster's the only good Lord. I was being a little hyperbolic there, but to get a Firebelly, you need a Lord, and then there's no good options. Because you're either double dipping on a caster, so you're paying a premium for no reason. Or you're taking Greasus or the Tyrant, which are both bad. Scrag's alright, but he'd be your caster too, right? You take him instead of a Slaughtermaster. He's good in some matchups. Dwarves, he's alright. High Elves, he's actually okay. He's okay. Dwarves, he's actually good. Chaos Dwarves, he's actually pretty good. Anywhere where they're going to have armored infantry that don't have anti-large, Scrag's pretty good.
Hi. Hi, puppy. Hi, puppy. Look at this puppy. Look at this puppy.
He's alright. Alright, I'll hop off here. I might stream tomorrow night. We'll see. There's Friday night fights. I need to see how my schedule is looking, but I might stream tomorrow. Definitely streaming Saturday. Might stream Sunday. I don't currently have anything on the calendar, but I also have other things I want to do with my life besides just entertain you people. Check out the poll on YouTube. If you haven't voted for that yet, determine what tournament you want to see next weekend. If you want to see domination content, here's your chance, man. The poll is out there. 2v2 domination tournament. Oh, well, I punched this dog. Punch, punch, punch. Aside from that, I don't know, man. Just vibe. Yeah, this was my last stream though. We're shutting the channel down. Look at this puppy. Look at her. Alright. I gotta go into work for a bit. Thanks for playing, everybody. Oh, show plants now? That's right, yeah. Sipa did want plants, didn't he? Alright. Alright. Look at me in my jammies. Get out of my way, giant tent. Oh, there's a kitty cat. Hi, buddy. Alright, how far does this camera even go? Might cut out once or twice. Hold on. Alright, so there's Pupple Up. Being Pupple Up. And there's Kitty Cat on my other chair. And then this window... Okay, hi, dog. I have 3 plants that are all viney plants, and they've grown into each other. I don't know what species they are. I never know what species they are. I buy plants based on... Well, actually, I haven't bought a plant in years. I am the local plant receptacle. Whenever one of my friends moves and they can't keep their plants anymore, they just ditch them with me. So I have 3 various abandoned plants. Actually, that's a mean way of saying it because 2 of those plants are my grandmother's and she passed. So then my family knew I take care of plants. So I have those. They're all growing into each other. Don't know who they are. That one in the back. You know what? I'm going to turn the fucking light. Come here, light. Need your help. There you go. It's kind of a weird pineapple ass looking plant. It's weird. Its leaves are very waxy. I don't know what they are. And then back by that window, I have a giant jade. You see that big bitch on the right? Right next to the door? That's a jade. It's huge. This is as far as the camera could go or I would get closer. Aside from that, I have an African violet over there. Another pothos. Some good shit. Next to my board game wall. Oh, and then a table full of Christmas presents for people. So if you're on my Christmas list, don't look at that part of the stream, I guess. I gotta wrap those, but I'm waiting on a few more to come in. So I only have to wrap everything once. Oh, that's it. That's all I got. Okay. I'll check chat one more time, then I'll go. African violin? It's a violet. It's an African violet. Was Bone Giant's projectile part of the buff? It feels like it was, Elmer. It feels like the Bone Giant hits more often now, which is nice. Okay. Goodbye.